Literary fiction strives, above all, to give the reader a unique experience. That's why it's rarely found in the genre aisle of the bookstore. When a piece of literary fiction fits into a genre, it must strive to ensure it is a unique approach to the inherent conventions of the genre. For example, absent the expertly woven theme of the nature of evil, Donna Tartt's The Secret History would be little more than an erudite twist on the mystery genre. But since Tartt starts the story by divulging the murderers, it becomes a unique twist on the classic whodunit. Instead of who, we read to find out why. Gone Girl, described as inventive, shrewd, mercilessly observant, and stylishly written, is a murder mystery in which the victim, it turns out, is not dead. Middlesex is in many ways a typical coming-of-age story, but it's complicated by the fact that the person who is coming of age is neither one gender nor the other. So literary fiction always strives to find a twist or a unique way of exploring a genre. There's a reason creative writing teachers have been pointing to Freytag's Pyramid since 1863, and it's that most stories, even the ones that friends tell each other over drinks, have a familiar shape. Most readers, it's been argued, have loved nothing better than the comfort of a familiar voice recounting a story that they haven't quite heard before. Many writers say that all stories are ones we haven't quite heard before. That is, stories we have heard before, but not told in quite this way. Works of literary fiction with recognizable plot shapes, cross-genre novels, for example, must be tilted, complicated in a way that readers' experience is fresh. The rags to riches story, the coming-of-age tale, the return to Eden, even classic detective or romance novels, all are familiar enough that readers are primed for their rises and falls. For lovers of literary fiction, though, the writer must twist the plot so that the story is no longer predictable, and then readers can be charmed by the surprise of it. Almost invariably, the primary difference between literary and popular fiction is the presence of one or more themes that elevate the work to something richer than simple entertainment. Literary fiction does not operate on a single level, that of story, but on multiple levels: story, character development, setting, and theme. And this is true for every work examined herein. Theme imparts an idea or a set of ideas that reverberate throughout the work. Readers can look past the scenery, the characters, even the story, and say, there, that is what this book is truly about. Oftentimes in literary fiction, the theme is deeply entrenched in plot and character. And in literary fiction, again, it's typically more profound, dealing with the more meaty issues of life and death and the meaning of life. Popular fiction, of course, uses theme more sparingly. It may be part of a subplot. It's typically less profound. Oftentimes, the story is plot-centric, and theme may play into it here or there, but it is not sort of central to the plot. For example, the inciting incident of the novel Middlesex, which is Cal's birth as an intersex person, serves to challenge the idea that gender orientation is a choice. And that theme is central to the plot of the story, inextricably linked to the plot and character. It's not an incidental observation. One final element common to literary fiction, with its aversion to formula, is the surprise ending. The plethora of devices available to a writer to bring about such an ending, the unreliable narrator, the sudden reversal of fortune, the moment of recognition or a revelatory flashback, these are numerous enough to warrant their own paper, but no matter how it is accomplished, readers seem to enjoy an ending that leaves them gobsmacked. And you see it over and over again in literary fiction. There are many examples of the surprise ending throughout literary fiction. Just a few that I've found are, for example, The Life of Pi, which ends with the revelation that Pi has been dissembling all along, and that he, not the tiger Richard Parker, was the true predator on the life raft. And this surprise prompts readers to regard the entire book in retrospect with fresh eyes. The Storyteller by Jodi Picoult ends after the event most readers would consider the inevitable closing of the story, Sage's killing of the Nazi Joseph. But then Sage learns that Joseph was not the man who killed her grandmother's best friend. She learns that she has killed, in fact, the man who was kind to her grandmother. Sage is left with the knowledge that she has been manipulated into killing an innocent man. So while startling, this ending seems inevitable, and that's the other thing about the surprise ending, is that it must be earned. In conclusion, to some degree, writers of literary fiction are free to pick and choose, to use the elements that suit their stories, their writing, their themes. Readers of literary fiction, while not multitudinous, are in many ways more adaptable than their literary junk food-loving counterparts. If they weren't difficult, complicated, and yet beloved books, like James Joyce's Ulysses, set by the sea, the snot-green sea, the scrotum-tightening sea, would never make it through the front door of the publishing house. Writers of literary bestsellers have the luxury of creating complex characters, pages of stunning description, and sweeping themes because their readers don't want a simple story. They want an experience. They don't want to be taught as well as entertained. They want to be taught as well as entertained. They want to surmise as well as be surprised. And yet there are still people longing for a good story, well told. Thanks very much for exploring this topic with me. If you have any questions, comments, disputes, or otherwise interesting points of discussion, please feel free to contact me, Tanya Kuvadia. My email address is tkuvadia@gmail.com. That's tkuvadia, COOVADIA, @gmail.com. Or feel free to text or call me at 727-492-2771. And thanks again